everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, when I walked out of the cinema after seeing this movie back in 2019, I said to myself that I really hope that this movie brings in a lot of money. I hope it gets a lot of awards. I hope it is, beloved by critics and beloved by the movie-going public, because I want this movie to be the jumping off platform so we can get a lot of better World War I movies. World War I is such a criminally underutilized war in the history of great war movies. And there's been just so much focus on World War II in the past years, and I really hoped that this movie was going to be the game changer, the movie that proved to the Hollywood brass that people wanted to see World War I movies. And maybe I was actually correct back then, because a couple of days ago I saw All Quiet on the Western Front, which is one of my favorite movies of the entire year of 2021. But that is not the movie we're going to review today. We're going to review a movie which I think is technically flawless, but it's a little bit too fond of its own gimmick for its own good. What's the gimmick and what's the story about? We shall see. This is 1917. It's the spring of 1917. We are in France and we have two soldiers who has a mission, a very important mission, to get the Colonel Mackenzie to stop him from attacking a position which is believed to be abandoned. It is not, it is a trap set up by the Germans to lure the British into trying to attack, and then they're going to be completely mowed down by machine gun fire, mortars and rifles and stuff like that. So they have to get through no man's land to the positions of Mackenzie and try to stop him. That's the entire story. Now, the thing that most people talked about when it comes to 1917 was the fact that this movie appears to be, one continuous shot. It is a bit like the movie Birdman, that they make this false cut, but it is such a flowing moment that you almost doesn't see where the cut happens. It is fantastically done. It's actually even better than Birdman in that sense, and it is also a more ambitious movie. And I loved the style of this movie. We were, following them through no man's land. I loved that sequence so much. It really felt like you were there. And my expectations to this movie skyrocketed. But then the movie kind of settled in on just being the gimmick, and I was actually quite bored after a while. I didn't care that much whether or not they would reach Mackenzie in time. I really didn't care whether or not, the charge was going to take place or not. And how do I say this? I got bored by the whole thing, and even though this movie was so fucking great, and even though the cinematography was so awesome, and the acting was quite good, I still didn't feel invested in it after a while. We had some sequences that was absolutely fantastic. The farmyard, and when he runs through the ruins of a city and stuff like that. Those sequences looked absolutely fantastic. But I didn't get the World War I experience I wanted to have. It felt a little flat, and I don't know why. Sam Mendes is a good director, and we have a bunch of very good actors in this one. Maybe it is the fact that the characters weren't that interesting. Apart from Mark Strong and Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Mackenzie, that we get to see in the end of the movie. Maybe it is the fact that we don't have any strong characters that hampers this movie and prevents it from going into that top echelons of war movies. Some of the big action sequences that we do get are fantastically made, and I love the fact that this movie isn't chopped to bits in the editing room. I love the cinematography and how it sort of floats, from one scene to the others. You really feel like you're there, but after a while, as I said, you get a little bored with it. It is a very good movie. The story is very good, it's very intense, and it has a lot of tension to itself, but from time to time I just wandered off a little bit and started thinking about other things and wasn't into this movie at all. This movie was very well made. This movie had a lot of authenticity to itself, but I just never got that into the whole thing. It is an exciting story. It's a fascinating tale. It doesn't have any, side plots that interferes with the whole thing, but still, it felt a little hollow. I don't know why. I wanted to like this movie so much, but I couldn't quite get what I wanted. When I sat down, I thought that this movie was going to get 93 points or even more, but unfortunately couldn't quite do that. Maybe my expectations simply were too high. I give 1917 78 points. It's in no means a bad movie. It's a really good movie, but I really wish that it was an even better movie than what it was. But as World War I movies goes, it is one of the best that has been done up until that point. So I'll see you next time for Well So and So Reviewing Well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.